Hello, I am so excited today to be here with Rachel Tresch. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. And I know we met through my girl, Denise Panza.
Denise.
Right?
She's just the connector. She's the LinkedIn letterboard queen.
She is. She totally
She's
is.
great.
And I'm so glad we connected, though, through Denise, because I love your podcast. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
And so it's interesting. So lending leadership. I can't wait to dive into that. But before we do, I was reading your bio and it makes sense. Now it makes sense that you have this fabulous voice and everything else, and the podcast works magically. And as I'm reading, I'm like, now I understand why. So before you got into the mortgage industry, you were doing voice leadership teaching. Tell me about it.
I was for about 11 years. Down here, this was my husband's man cave. He's a broadcast engineer. And when we were pregnant with my son, our oldest, I was like, oh, I want to be there. I want to not have a 9 to 5. So I was like, I'm going to give voice lessons. I took voice lessons as a kid, was always very theatrical. We had worked with a couple of kids in this studio to put together some albums for fun for some of our friends. And I was like, I'm going to give voice lessons. He's like, okay. And so it really took off. So for 11 years, this was my sing voice studio office where I would give acting and singing lessons to kids. And then that kind of transformed into doing a lot of voiceover work, which I did not even know was a thing that you could do from home. But
right.
Storytelling and really just anything that you would hear someone and not see them. I've done a lot of really cool spots right from this spot right here.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course, because you always wonder behind some of these, the apps, right? Or on the voices, who are they? So here we go. We know.
I know. It's so interesting. And I feel like sometimes when you're the kind of person who, not a yes person, because we know those people are just overwhelmed with life, right? But you say yes to the right things. You never know where life's going to lead you. And I had filled in for a friend of mine who, she was away and she said, I forgot to do our church announcement. Can you do it? And I was like, I can't do that. She was like, Rachel, you have a full studio. I was like, I can do that. And I did it. And then they asked me to do it again. And then somebody else heard it and said, oh, my company needs something. Can I pay you to do this? I was like, yeah. And,
nice.
And then from there, I started using a platform called voices.com, which basically works as your agent in a sense, and got a lot of exposure, really cool clients. And it was a great creative outlet that I still dabble in a little bit, but
okay. I was going to ask you,
yeah.
Are you out of it or no? So you still do?
Yeah. I still have clients that come to me and it's great. I mean, again, I'm all for a creative outlet. I think everybody needs something just a little different to break up their day every now and then. And for me, that's voice acting and singing and all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah. And now how did you get into the mortgage industry? And it's almost your anniversary. So happy anniversary.
I know. Thank you. Yeah. It was one of those things that it completely fell out of the sky, right? I call those moments the sliding door moments in life where it's like, whoa, where did this come from? Where you have that choice, right? Where you can go this way or go this way, but you have to make a choice. And so I walked through the mortgage door. A cousin of mine was a branch manager at AnnieMac, and my mom was visiting her, and I had sent a video email to my mom. I was looking at some other companies, kind of like I've been doing voice lessons for 11 years and my kids are in school, in elementary school now. I'm like, I want to see what else is out there. So I had sent a video cover letter, which these things are so cool. Video cover letter. And I said, Mom, can you let me know what you think about this? Well, she happened to be visiting my cousin, who's a branch manager. And my cousin said, hey, send that to me. And all of a sudden I can see this video going all over the country. I'm like, because you can see where you can't see who opens it, but you can see where they are, who look at the video.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Love it.
And I'm like, what is this? This is weird. And my cousin calls me. She says, Rachel, my boss is going to call you. I'm like, Becky, I don't know what you do. She goes, I'm in the mortgage space. Just answer the call. And had a great conversation with her regional vice president. And I had no idea what I was doing. I had a mortgage. That was about it. But took a leap of faith, and it's been a great year.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Crazy.
I love that. But you know what? That's how I like the world of crazy. Like those things that happen where you look back and say, what if I didn't, like, what if that day you didn't send that to your mom and it didn't, like, it's just timing. It's the magic, right?
All of it.
I love that when you said, like, here you are, 39 years in and a different career.
Yeah.
And you never expected it. I love that.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think sometimes we think, oh, well, I'm 39. I don't know. You look at someone like Morgan Freeman. I read recently that he didn't even start acting until his mid 40s, something like that. So why limit ourselves? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a big girl job when I turn 40. So I turned 40 in August and I have a big girl job. But it's funny that being a mom is my hardest job that I got. And the managing and the, constant changing of hats that we wear. So, I have a different perspective a year into this than I did going in, obviously.
I love it. Yeah. Now, what's your favorite thing that you do for this job?
Well, it's relationships. So it's just talking to people. I love talking with people at all different stages of their careers and really kind of opening their eyes to a different way of doing business where they're like, whoa, okay, I hadn't thought about that. And it's very similar to what I did with voice lessons, which is just funny, of really listening and saying, okay, you're so good at this area right here, but right over here, I'm noticing that we can help you with that. Or have you seen this perspective? Have you taken the time to look at this? And I did the same thing with voice lessons where it was really just kind of holding up that mirror. And, sometimes you're not going to be a fit for everybody, and that's okay. But taking the time to get to know somebody, I love conversations. I love this kind of stuff. And man, the game has changed in the last 5 years of how we market ourselves and brand ourselves. And so I love doing podcasts and talking and.
Right. Now talk about your podcast. So talk about your day, like, what's your day when you're podcasting? What's your theme? Where do people find you?
Yeah. So, I started off, I knew I wanted to have a podcast last year, just like a lot of people, right? I want to have a podcast. And I didn't really know what to do. So I figured, all right, well, I'm going to just start. I'm just going to start this thing and figure out. I didn't really have a great name. I was like, I don't know what to call this thing, but I just wanted to start. I wanted people to come to my social media and see that I was someone of value, someone that someone else wanted to talk to. If I'm bringing people into AnnieMac, if I'm bringing loan officers into my company, I want them to know that I'm not just another recruiter out there. So I started, and I didn't have a name. I called it Phone a Friend Friday because I thought it sounded fun. And and then, as the year went on and I really kind of, fine-tuned everything, I had the idea to call it Lending Leadership because, lending has that double meaning. I'm looking for lenders. We are a lender at AnnieMac, mortgage lenders and leadership, right? But then it's also the verb of lending leadership, offering leadership. And I think that we can learn something so unique from all different industries and experiences. And so this summer I took some time, really, really learned what I was doing, not just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, and took some time to rebrand and Lending Leadership. I'm recording now, and I like to record a number of different sessions and then kind of leak them out, so you're not just scrambling for a guest and, oh my gosh, I got to get this out there. But
exactly.
But also not treating it like a hobby and just doing it here and there. I think the consistency is key for anyone who's thinking of doing it.
Oh, yeah, that is a great tip. But one thing I love is that you just dove right in, because so many times people will talk to me over and over about their same idea. And I'm like, how about just start?
Yes.
Just start. Because once, and this, but once you build whatever business it is, or your podcast, your company, you're always changing it. It's never perfect. So like, why do you keep waiting? Because you want to do this. I'm waiting for that. I'm like, no, just start with what you have now, because it's going to change. For us, we may want to change it, but then also with the world, like you said, who thought that so many things would happen in the past 24 months and that we would be maybe using video more often to connect with others? But it happened.
Absolutely.
That's how we connected, and we're growing. So you just have to start.
You do. Are you the kind of person that picks a word at the beginning of the year? Do you do that?
Yes.
You do. Do you remember your word? What was your word?
Yes. Focus.
Focus. Oh, I like
What about you?
Mine was consistency. I
Oh,
feel like together,
yeah.
we're good together then. Focus and consistency, right?
Yes.
Because,
Yeah.
so many times just going to back to just getting started, I think we expect things. Oh, okay, I put that out there. Where is everybody? Where are all the sales? Where are the people? Why is my phone not ringing? But you have to do it and do it again and again and again. And maybe it'll hit, maybe it won't, but you'll learn something in the process. And constantly showing up for yourself, showing up for the people who are watching. I'm sure you notice this too, where it's people just kind of like to sit back and see what you're doing and wait and watch. And then all of a sudden, maybe 9 months to a year later, they tell you, I've been watching what you're doing. And
Exactly.
and you never know. So take a bet on yourself. Know. That's what I tell people. Just
yes.
Give it a whirl.
100%. 100%. You're talking my talk, because I love that. I love betting on yourself. I mean, I talk about this all the time, because if you're not betting on yourself, who's doing it for you?
Exactly.
And of course you can have family and friends who are helping you, but I mean, you gotta bet on yourself and get going. And it's a big motivation for me. Now, what is your big motivator?
Oh gosh. Right. Well, I don't want to say it's typical, but my family, my kids, my husband, my dog just ran by, Dude the dog, but I love being able to show my kids, hey, mama can wear all these different hats and balance and model what success looks like. That's a huge motivator. I'm extremely competitive too. And usually not with other people, but with myself. When they say,
right.
Okay, here's a number that is, for President's Club or whatever, I'm like fighting for that. But I'm also someone that is very, integrity is the number one. So, I want to find people and, that I can help and bring them over to our company that would really make a difference in their bottom line, for their families. So all of that in combination, that's
so when you
what
bring
drives me.
people over,
mm-hmm.
and you recruit them, do you mentor them along the way? What happens? What's the process?
Yeah. So in the beginning, it's really just the get to know you, right? And see, okay, are we better off together or are we better off apart? That's okay either way. And then, I feel like sometimes in some companies, and I'm getting recruited a lot by other companies, which is great. But, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to take that call. Then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm doing that. So I guess I should take the call for someone else. But, we really do our due diligence, because when we bring someone on, when we bring a loan officer or a branch on to AnnieMac, we want to make sure that they're going to be a good fit here. And, it's sad that unfortunately, I don't think every company is like that. And especially when times are tough, they just want as many bodies as they can get and get them in the door. But, we really take our time to get to know someone. And then when they're here, it's not like, okay, great, I got them, see you never. I make it a point to stay in front of them and have little touches and texts and emails and constantly be a point person if they have questions or don't know who to talk to. But it's that relationship building, just like anything. And I think when you establish that relationship, you don't want to just say goodbye.
Right.
You want to have an active part in their success. So
right.
So that's
Absolutely.
been fun to watch this year.
Now, what are you seeing in your mortgage industry right now?
Right now, I mean, it's been a tough year. It's been a really tough year, but I think when you're surrounded by a team, when you have leadership, it's really disheartening when I talk with people and they say, "Yeah, I haven't heard from my CEO all year long. I haven't heard from my regional vice president all year." I know when things are scary and you don't know what to say, sometimes people just retreat and flee, but it feels really good to be with an organization that constantly shows up, constantly is up for masterminding and creating new ideas. And, the last 2 years of the mortgage space where it was just refis for the taking and low hanging fruit, sometimes people forgot about the relationships of their realtors. And again, no matter what industry someone's in, it is about the relationship. No matter how much technology takes over or what's going to happen going forward, it is about the relationship. So making sure that once our branch managers and loan officers are here, that we're not forgetting about them, that we're, once we get married, that's when the true work begins, right? That's when we're making sure that we're there for them. We're supporting, where their strengths are, but then, supporting where their weaknesses are and helping them fill in. And, I think when you're talking with people all the time, that's key.
That is key. And I like what you're saying too about when you interview or you're talking with someone to see, is it the right fit? Because there are people that I love and it's fabulous, but we realize it's not the right fit. Right. So, and then it doesn't work out. And then I feel like that's when you don't want to pick up that phone call. But the beauty and the magic when you're recruiting and building onto a team is picking the players correctly, to make them the stars, making sure and that you see that it's an easy fit. I think that's overlooked and it's just so important. People ask me all the time, I'm blessed. I have an incredible team. I wouldn't have success without them, but we work together. Like the rules that apply for me apply for everyone else, so like I raised my daughter as a single mom, put her on the bus, took her off the bus. I was the class mom. I did go on all the field trips. So you think I'm not going to want that for everyone at the organization? Everybody has that. And this is way before now that there's so much virtual working. This was always, you want to put them on, take them off, make sure you're at every game, whatever you want, so, and that's, that our motto here, like I'm like faith, family, funds.
I love that.
That's it. If you work that way, it all works. It's like magic.
It does. And it kind of keeps you in check. It keeps your focus, right?
Right. Exactly.
I remember hearing a story. We were at there's a coaching group called the Mortgage Marketing Animals, and their top tier is called the Freedom Club. And I was at a Freedom Club event, and I remember hearing one of and I don't remember his name, but I remember hearing this guy talk about he was a top branch manager, loan officer, constantly working, created a beautiful life for his family. They had driven to Disney World, and he said, "Guys, you go in. I'm going to meet you there. I have to take this call." Well, of course, that call turned into another call, turned into another, and he had been in the car all day while his family was in Disney World. Now, what really got me was when he said, when his family got back to the car, he said this was a turning point for him. It wasn't the fact that his family was so angry with him. It was the fact that they weren't.
Ooh.
And I just got chills when I heard that. And it really put things into perspective, because we can be making all this money, but for what? If we're not there to enjoy our family, to use our gifts for good. And our kids don't care what's on our W-2. They don't care, right? They don't care what's on your tax returns. They care if you showed up to their game, like you said. They care if you put them on the bus. And sorry, kids, my kids, I didn't put you on the bus this morning, but I did some great hair for my daughter, so it's fine. But like giving yourself the grace, but to really take inventory of what's important in your life, and like even just jotting it down. What do you want for your life? What do you dare to dream a little bit bigger. What do you want that to look like? And then back into that equation and figure out, okay, how can I get there? How can I surround myself with people who will help me get there? Because I am a strong believer that iron sharpens iron, and we need to surround ourselves with people who are going to sharpen us, and we're going to sharpen them.
Oh, yeah, I love that. And yet, I always say my success that I've had is because of the circle. You know, you can have people that lift you up or lift you down or bring you down, right? So it's so true who you spend the most time with on your, when you have time to away from the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important. And exactly right about the money. And sometimes it is that reality check, like for that person. I mean, that's scary. And it did give me chills because it's true. You can get in that. You're just like running and just bringing in the money. And that's great. Let's bring in the money.
Yeah.
But I love money, but let's bring it in and try. It's very hard to balance it all. And I think your word with consistency is great because make the habits, look at your schedule. And if you have to schedule things for time for yourself or family time, then schedule it.
Yeah.
But look at that calendar and make sure it's not 100 hours of work or those. And we all know, I saw someone the other day with they were on the stage. And he was just speaking, right? And then he asked someone in the audience, "Can I have your phone?" And he almost said the same things, but he had the phone in his hand. Didn't even look at it. But it was the point of, do I have your attention? Do you think I'm as powerful now, or my conversation isn't the same right now because you think that someone is going to interrupt? That is more important than you are. And, this is something, listen, I'm working really hard
Girl,
on this. This is something.
Speaking to me. I'm like, this is constant. It's actually a big source of contention with, me and my husband, because he's like, you never put your phone down. I'm like, I'm never away, which, it is a constant battle. We have to make sure that we have that boundary. Boundaries are so big. And we can be preaching it, but then I'm guilty of it too. We all are, but that's where grace comes in, and we give ourselves that, okay, to know better is to do better. But that's powerful.
It is. And it's interesting. Like, even when I know, and again, I work for myself, I get it. Every call it could mean money, right? So I understand that. But I also understand when I go out to dinner and when I'm with friends who do not have their phones on the table versus the friends who, and again, we put them down that they're, with the cover facing up, that like that makes a difference.
I know.
So, and you feel it. So anyway, it's just something I'm working on that myself. I read, the book Thrive, where Arianna Huffington, it talks about collapsing. I'm like, I see it coming for me.
I know.
So I have to take these baby steps to try. But again, it's like just turning it on and off and everything else, and consistency and habits. I got to work on that a little myself.
I know. My a good friend of mine, a colleague, Michelle, that I work with, she's so good at just holding up that mirror. I think I'm good for other people for that, but with ourselves, I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess I need to take my own advice. But she is very good at helping me with that. And this is so simple, but she's like, Rachel, you just need to time block. And you touched on that a little bit, but I actually do this every day where, I have that block, 4:00, pick up my kids from the bus. Doesn't happen all the time. No, because, my husband's here too. So he'll pick them up, but at least I have that block that I try not to block that, and then same thing in the morning. It's 8 to 9:30 focus time. So that's for family time. That's for me to just get my day organized. In the middle of the day, I do the same thing so that I'm not cheating on myself. Does it happen where I have to use that time? Yeah. But, to build that time out. And if you're someone that lives by your Microsoft Outlook calendar or your Calendly calendar, whatever it may be, or this crazy phone calendar, I think that's a step in the right direction. Helps a little.
Yeah. And I always say, and I believe this, I learned this maybe a couple of years ago where someone said to me, if you want to make more money, take more time off. And I said, that sounds, it was a wealth advisor. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Until I said, you know what? I'm going to start, because sometimes you just work 7 days a week, right? You're working on a project. It never ends. And then I said, I have to take weekends off. I can't keep going like this. Crazy, right? And so you take that time off, and then guess what? Things do pop in your head. And, you know, I try to have the notepad around. I love my notebooks, my motivational little notebooks, binders all over the place, and I'll write it down. And then when you do go back, it's because you took off, you have all these brilliant ideas that come to you. So if you want to make more money, take some time off.
Yeah. And then we're more strategic with the time. It's like, okay, well, I know that I'm going to be going away, so I'm not going to leave this just waiting. I'm going to make sure that I prioritize, and you kind of attack your to-do list a little bit differently.
Right. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Who taught you about credit?
Oh, girlfriend. You know, it's funny. Nobody.
Right.
No one. My dad was registered investment advisory. He had his own RIA, finance guy. And, you know, I grew up in the 80s, 90s when money was just falling out of the trees. And then all of a sudden I got to college and I think we did get a credit card. It was in my name and my dad's name, but I didn't know why I was doing it. And I talked to so many kids who just, they don't get it. I don't know. Hopefully people are starting to be more aware of this and awake, and they're starting to teach these very important things in high school and college. I would love to see that, but I don't think it's happening nearly enough. Are you finding that?
Not. I am finding that. I do think we are turning a little bit with adding some financial education to classrooms. There was something FICO told me the other day about there are certain states that they're trying to add it into the high school before graduating. So I think that's fabulous. And, you know, to me, you know, my favorite 4-letter F word is FICO.
I knew you were going to say that.
I've been saying it for a long time.
Right? It's which important. Is different than your credit score. It's not, you know, you know, pick your 3. It's different. Right. So people think, oh, well, it says, well, it's not the same.
Yeah. And just like you, I mean, I wasn't taught about credit. Most people learn about credit from making a mistake.
Yeah, unfortunately, right?
Right. And that's what I'm trying to change that with talking about healthy credit. And also, money's not a bad thing. Credit's not a bad thing. It's just, how do we use it the best way? And so I love asking that question because I'm waiting for someone, and it hasn't happened yet, Rachel, but I'm waiting for someone to say, oh, well, I was taught that. So we'll see when that happens.
Yeah.
But,
well, and you know, like we said, who you surround yourself with is so important. And I feel like if you, cause I have a colleague of mine who, when she was very young, I think in college, she had worked for a mortgage company. She was a junior loan partner, or, you know, working her way to becoming a loan officer in college. And she was telling her friends, hey guys, you need to get a credit card, pay it off every month, you know, just start building that credit. And they were like, we don't need to do that. Well, the ones that listened 5-6 years later have really thanked her for doing that, because it helped them get into a home.
Right.
And little things that you can do along the way to be a grown up, to adult a little bit better, a little bit earlier. That's key.
Right. Exactly. And again, I think we don't think about credit but we're using it every single day. Wherever you live, it could be over your credit. Are you living in a house or an apartment? You know, and are you living in the apartment you want to or not because of your credit? Are you driving or using, you know, a train to get to work, because whatever it may be? We're just always using credit, and we only think about it when we're swiping the card or when we need it. So it's interesting, but being with mortgages and recruiting, and it's, you know, they're all married together.
They are. Yeah. Okay. I have a question for you, actually, because, you know, I have young kids. My son, Colt, he's going to be 11 on Saturday, and my daughter is 8. what would you recommend, because I think about building credit maybe when you're in high school or college, but I guess it's never too early to start. But what would you recommend for people that have younger kids to help them start to build that credit? Is there something that, a feather we can put in our cap to help them?
Start talking about it. So when they see you using credit, but also I was just talking about this the other day, like, let's say if Colton gets birthday money, or if he gets an allowance, I don't know. So if he collects his money and now you're out shopping, right? So let's say you're shopping and he wants something, but you're not buying that. You could just use that as an example and say, well, wait a minute. Just like I have a credit card, would you like to borrow the money? And start talking about credit in that way, because they'll understand that, right? If you say you have the piggy bank at home, $50, this is 10. So you can borrow it, and that's like credit, and then I always say, I try to talk to young kids saying, just like you have a report card, we have a financial report card. And so they can kind of understand, but if you let them borrow money, but bring in the credit. And so when they give it back, say you paid on time. If you have to keep asking for it, like, hey, here's your late notice. Am I going to add an extra $1 to that? Or whatever, in a fun way, just so they're learning, like, say, this is how I pay my bills.
That's
since they're so little like that, that's how I would start it with little ones. So,
I love that because
works.
that's tangible. Sometimes these big ideas are like, I don't get it. Just pay with the plastic thing, Mom. It's like, well, it doesn't really work like that. We still have to pay the money for it. Right. So don't be spending something you don't have.
And don't think that college kids don't think that, because you would be shocked if you knew how many people that they're older, they get the credit card, they didn't understand, they pay it back. I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, to me, I really sit there and I struggle with, you just thought for free. It was a gift. It was a bonus. You won it. I don't understand, but they didn't even know. They're like, well, I thought maybe, I guess someday. So even though your little boy's 11,
be in about 30 days.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
But so it is something to talk about. It definitely is. Now,
great.
Now, what's your number one tip that you want everyone to know about you and what you share? What's your number one tip?
I mean, I think, just one? How am I going to pick just one? Well, if there are loan officers out there, I'm always looking to talk with loan officers or branch managers to, understand how your business works. I love learning from people. I love learning what's working and what's not working. And of course, if you're thinking of making a change, would love to talk with you about AnnieMac. But, for people who are not in the mortgage space, take a dare and just bet on yourself and try something different and new, because honestly, I had a mortgage this time last year. I never thought I would be in the mortgage space. And I've had so many wonderful, wonderful conversations and created so many relationships. I've gotten to travel a little bit this year, and I really feel like I've found a home within this company. And if I was scared, which I was, if I was scared and said no, I wouldn't have had this. And I think we'd be struggling a little bit right now. But you can do it afraid. It's totally fine. Just smile and do it afraid and take a bet on yourself. And I think when you do that, you'll always end up on the positive end of things.
I agree completely. I always say I'm more afraid when I'm comfortable. I like being uncomfortable. When I'm uncomfortable, I know I'm growing. So I love that. Now, where does everyone find you on social media?
You can find me on all the socials. Let's see, on TikTok. I know, don't laugh. I actually think TikTok is really fun. TikTok, I have a little Wizard of Oz obsession. So my TikTok handle is Yellow Brick Loan. On Instagram, it's just Rach, R-A-C-H, Tresch, T-R-E-S-C-H. LinkedIn, Rachel Tresch. Facebook, Rachel. My podcast is lendingleadership.com, which you got to come on and be a guest on my show too. And
I would love that.
Continue the convo, but yeah, we'd love to talk.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. It's been great having you.
Thank you so much.
I'll have you back on.
Me.
This is great. This half hour went so fast.
It did.
We're over the half hour. I can't even believe it.
Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Take it easy.
Bye.